Hey guys, welcome to another episode, and today we have a HP laptop to repair. The exact model is 15s-eq1123nw. And what's wrong with the laptop? Well, basically it doesn't give any signs of life, does not power up. I have already removed the back cover of camera, so I can take it off. The laptop has 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. The SSD drive. It also has Ryzen 4500U, so low powered CPU, Ryzen CPU, quite capable one. Uh, so yeah, let me take a multimeter and we'll check what's wrong with the laptop. I have the multimeter ready. I haven't touched anything yet. Everything is assembled as it was. Let's check together and see if we can figure out any issues here. Okay, so let me grab the ground. I hope you can see the multimeter. Maybe let's do like this. Let's grab a ground. Can you see the readings? Yeah, you can see it. Okay. So first, let's start with this looks like a CPU phases. So just to see if the CPU is okay. Oh, by the way, let's check what is the resistance of my probes. Okay, it's 1 ohm. So if we check the CPU phase, it's 7, so it's around 6 ohms. Looks okay. The other one, cannot grab it. Okay, it's the same, so around 6 ohms. And then this one, okay, that's around 10 ohms. So this looks fine. So those probably two are for CPU, and this one is probably for the GPU integrated in the APU. Okay, that's promising. We have a BIOS chip here, so let's have a look at the leg number 8. What's the resistance here? We have kilo ohms, so that's good. This is very promising, I would say. Then we have some other coils. By the way, I see something here, like something is spilled over here. Not sure if you can see it, but it's like I don't know, like a glue or liquid, like hard liquid that dried out. Anyway, we'll have a look at that later under the microscope. Definitely something to check. Let's check this coil over here. What's this? I don't have a good ground, I think. Let me check again. Okay, we have 240 ohms, so I would guess it's probably the RAM coil. Then this one here. It's in mega ohms. Kilo ohms, hundreds of kilo ohms, looks okay. I would say it's probably 3.3 or 5 volts rail. Here is probably the other one. It's in kilo ohms, and this looks okay. This seems okay, but the reading is quite high. Not sure if it's normal or not. Looks okay, I would say, but we'll find out later. What else do we have? Probably not much more. There's one coil here, that's probably charging coil, and 48 kilo ohms, looks okay. And then we have a charging port here, and the cable goes here to the connector underneath this ribbon. And looks like we have some MOSFETs here, and that should be the main rail, the current sense resistor, the main current sense resistor, and it's in mega ohms, so this looks good. Anything else? I guess that's it for now. Let's connect the power supply and see what voltages do we have. The power supply is now connected here and we are in the voltage mode, so let's check the voltages on the board. As I said, the power jack is here. Then there's a cable going here and there's a connector under this ribbon, and there are red wires on this side, so let me check the first pin and we have 20 volts. Then we have something looks like a diode on this side, 20 volts, input of the first MOSFET, and we have 20 volts. Okay, this output of the first MOSFET, 20 volts, and the second MOSFET 20 volts, and we have 20 volts here. Yeah, we have 20 volts as well. And there's current sense resistor, and we have 20 volts as well. So that means the charger works and actually allows the current into the board, so that's good. Let's check the other coils here. 1 volt seems low, and this is probably charging coil. That looks weird, but maybe it's not charging because the battery is fully charged. I don't know. Just a guess. We'll check that later. Then we have the CPU. Obviously the laptop is not working, so I don't expect any voltage here, and there's no voltage. No voltage, no voltage. Do we have a voltage on the BIOS chip? No, we don't have 3.3 or 1.8 volt on the BIOS chip, so that's bad. Okay, then we have this coil, that's probably RAM we said, so I don't expect any voltage here, and that's correct. And then we have a coil here, 3.3 or 5 volts, and there's no voltage, so that's not good. And the other one, okay, also no voltage, so still not sure which one is which, but I would guess this one is 3.3 volts maybe, I don't know. Let's check around here. Actually, let me switch to the microscope and we'll have a look together. Before we switch to the microscope, I wanted to mention a few things. So first of all, I have removed the battery just in case I want to disconnect something like the SSD or RAM or the screen. It's better not to have the the power connected. So of course I will disconnect the charger, but I also need to disconnect the battery. The second thing is that when I was inspecting the board, I found some kind of like liquid damage, something spilled around this area, so starting around the BIOS chip and covering the space around those MOSFETs here, especially there's a little bit on this middle MOSFET here. So I'll show you that under the microscope, and we will definitely clean that before trying to power up the laptop. But since the resistances were actually okay, I don't think it's a big issue, at least for now. So let's focus on the real reason why the laptop is not working. And at the moment we are missing the voltage on the BIOS chip, so that's already one thing. I checked off camera and the chip is actually powered with 1.8 volt. The other thing I checked, I found actually a board view for this board, and that's great, also a schematic. So I already know that this is the 3.3 coil and this is the 5 volts coil. So as I mentioned, we'll start with 3.3 volts, and that's because, well, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it might be that having the power on this coil actually enables 5 volts. Again, I'm not sure if that's the case, but that's very possible. And I think that from this, maybe the voltage is converted somehow to power the BIOS chip. So I think the first thing to check is actually here. With that, let's switch to microscope now, and I'll show you the rest under the microscope.
Alright, so this is the board view I was able to find, and this is our 3.3 volt coil. I mean here, sorry. That's the coil and that's the buck converter. So we already checked that there's no voltage on the coil, meaning there's also no voltage on the output pins here and here. What we need to check now is whether there is a voltage going into the chip, the powering the chip. So this is V in, and that's probably gonna be 20 volts. Those pins here we need to check under the microscope or any of these points highlighted in yellow. And if it's present, then we also need to check the enable signal, which is pin number 8. So we either check the pin or one of those two resistors here. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's switch to the microscope and let me check what's going on here. And we are under the microscope. The orientation of the board is basically the same as the laptop view and as on the board view. And so this is our coil right here, starting here. The field of view is not very big, so I just did it like this to show you the entire area here. So as I said, there's no voltage on the coil. We already checked that. So we're supposed to check those three pins here for the input voltage, and that should be 20 volts, I think, based on the board view. And we have 20 volts. You have to believe me. Sorry, unfortunately, I cannot display the voltage on the screen. Okay, so we have input voltage. So this means we should also have, in order to get the output voltage, we should have the enable signal. Let's check if we have the enable signal. And the enable signal should be on this pin right here. It's pretty small. And we don't have anything. It should also be on those resistors. So this point here, measuring point. Okay, nothing here. And nothing. Do we have anything on the resistor on this side? Nothing on here. And nothing here. Oh, actually, wait. On this side. Oh, look, it's moving. So we have moving resistor. It's probably corroded or something. It's moving. Let's actually zoom in. So let's zoom in to the maximum zoom. Let's get the focus. Okay, and let's see our. Look, it's a mess. This here, this resistor over here is really a mess, to be honest with you. And if I touch it, basically there's no voltage here and it's all moving. So I think we may have found our culprit. So definitely we need to check what that resistor is, what value it is. Ideally, I would find another one from a donor, probably for the other one above it as well. But I mean, let's test the resistors. Let's try to test. Let me unplug the power supply for now. I don't want to make any short. Let's try to check the resistors, if I can measure this resistor. Is it moving? No, it's not moving. Fortunately, this one looks soldered okay, although, as I said, it looks corroded also. Oh, sorry, I'm in the voltage mode on the multimeter, so let's check what what resistance we have on this one. And we have 80 kilo ohms on this one. And seems to be good. I can get good reading. And this one, that might be actually more difficult. It's all moving. Can I get it to read? Okay, it's 499K. That's great, but I think it's quite a rare resistor, so it may be difficult to find it. Let me see if, I mean, I will try to get a replacement later. Let's try first to solder it back in place. I know it's not perfect, but at least we can try the laptop if it's gonna help, if it's gonna work. If it's gonna work, then I'll look for some replacement. Alright, now that we have the resistor in place, let's look at the area around the BIOS chip, which you can see here, and slightly below around the MOSFETs. So looking at this under the microscope, I would say someone worked on it already, and this looks like a flux residue based on the color and how hard it is. It's like hard candy, basically. So to make sure, I'll get some IPA on a cotton bud, like a lot, and try to clean it. We'll see if it's not gonna be that easy. It's between the legs, but I think it's getting removed. So that's good. Let me clean on the other side as well and see if it disappears. Maybe put some as much IPA as I can under the chip. Okay, I mean, I don't know, but let me try now. And is it any softer? Yeah, it looks like it's like liquid now. So maybe I can get rid of it with a brush, maybe. Let me get an electric brush and let's do like this. A bit more IPA and again brush it. I mean, okay, I don't know. Maybe we need something else than IPA. Maybe it's not the flux, but looks like flux. To me, I'll try different cleaner later. Maybe clean it off camera. I don't want to bother you with it, but here as well, you can see there's something, especially on this MOSFET here. I can scrape it off the MOSFET surface. And actually, let's check if it disappears when I clean it with the IPA. Okay, it does. So maybe I'm thinking maybe just a flux. So either someone soldered those MOSFETs and things around it, or it just flew from the BIOS chip that is close to it, and when they were using hot air, maybe the flux just traveled a little bit to the MOSFETs here. But looks like someone soldered here. I would say it was, because you can see clearly like here there is no flux under it, but under this one you can see this like frame around it, and it's all there. So I'll just spray it with the flux. I hope they did a good soldering job. I mean, it looks okay to me, and we didn't have any short or anything. So let me just quickly wipe it with the cotton bud. Let's use the brush again. Okay. All right, so this is now clean and dry. Looks a bit better, I think. I mean, still you can see something, but maybe that's just the IPA that hasn't evaporated yet. So it's still a little bit wet. Uh, yeah, I'll give it a moment to dry out, and we'll try to power on the laptop, maybe. Okay, so we have the resistor here, and I have the power supply connected. Let me now check the voltage. Let's check the voltage on this pin, or actually the test point. Oh, sorry, I don't have the multimeter on. On this test point, we have nothing, and so we don't have nothing. We have nothing on here. Let's check on this via here. Oh, okay, and we have 20 volts here. So looks like this resistor is still bad. It measured weird, like the resistance was changing. I also checked the same value resistor on a donor board, and it also measured different than it should. So I assumed maybe it's okay because it was pretty similar, around 115 kilo ohms, but then it started like jumping. So I'll remove it, put the one from the donor. It has a slightly bigger size, but it's actually okay because I had to I removed the pad under the resistor. So actually I'll connect this side here, this pad here, with the via on this side. So actually it can be bigger, it's even better. Okay, so see you in a moment.
Right, so as you could see, the resistor from the donor was soldered in place. Let's now check the voltage. I'll try to come here, measure the test point first, and we measure 2.7 after the resistor, so that's good. And that's kind of expected. This kind of value looks reasonable. Not sure what it should be, but it looks good to me. And then let's check 3.3 volt, and we don't have anything here. Do we have 5 volts? No, we don't have. Okay, but let's see what happens then. Let me take the multimeter. Let me open the laptop again. Like this. And let's power it on. Where's the power button? It's on this side here. Is it? Yeah, it's here. Okay. Let me press the power button. Oh, and we have a fan spin. Not sure if you could see it. It's spinning. Okay, it stopped. But that's a good sign, I would say. If it spins again. Okay, it spins again. That's great. Okay, stopped again. Spinning again. Oh. Maybe it's restarting. Oh yeah, and we have a picture. As you can see, it says there's no CMOS battery basically, and that makes sense because I didn't see any separate CMOS battery, so maybe the main battery is actually a CMOS battery. So we'll put the battery in a moment back in and see if it works. Oh, okay, we have a HP logo and Windows seems to be loading. Oh, we have a Windows screen. Let's see if we can log in. Oh, there's a password of the previous user. Okay, so that's fine, I guess. Let's try if the keys work. I mean, I don't know. Okay, but looks like something is working, so maybe the keyboard is okay. Yeah, let's power off the laptop and install the battery. Okay. And we have the battery now connected. I'll plug in the charger and let's see if we can power it on again. Nothing happens again. The light is blinking for a second and it doesn't work. So it looks like the battery, I mean, I don't know. I look at the battery and I can show you. Let me unplug it. Let me unplug the battery now. You can see that the battery is like damaged. It was probably worked on. It's opened here, so probably someone tried to fix the battery. And yeah, so maybe it's shorting or something. I don't know. It's strange. I told you that there's something wrong with the voltage here. Let's check it real quick. Let's connect the power supply and then check the voltage. Not sure if you can see it, but I'll confirm what it reads. It's reading, oh, it's 3.12 right now. If I disconnect the charger and connect the battery, okay, the battery is connected firmly. Then let me try to power it on again. Does nothing. Let's see what the voltage is now. It's jumping around, hard to say. Around 3 volts as well. 4, 3, 2.5. Yeah, it's definitely strange. So I think we have to try with a different battery and see if it works any better. Okay, so I have a battery from another HP laptop. As you can see, the model of the battery is slightly different. Our battery, so the one that has a hole in, I mean not a hole, just a ripped foil, is, so the original one is the HT03XL and this one is HW03XL. But the parameters are pretty similar and the size of it is like the same. And so I tried this battery and this one I know is good. So that's actually strange because I tried with this battery and with this battery and the charger the laptop is actually starting, and the first time I turned it on I went to the HP diagnostics, ran it, and got, when I tested the battery, I got an information that a fuse is bad or something like this. The second time I tried, well, the diagnostic doesn't see the battery and the charger even though it works on the charger obviously. And it booted to Windows normally, but Windows doesn't see the battery either. So And also another weird thing about it, so I took this original battery and put it in another working laptop, and then there it seems to work. So not sure if the battery is bad as well, or is it okay. The diagnostics there said it's fine on the other HP laptops, so I'm super confused about it. But I don't think it's a battery issue, at least not only battery issue. So let's go into the under the microscope, and let's see the charger, because I suspect it's some kind of issue with the charger, or maybe the MOSFETs on the battery side. Uh, so yeah, let's go there and see what the problem is. Okay, so we are under the microscope now, and what you can see is the charging coil actually. Just to show you, there's a charging connector here, and we have the charging coil and two MOSFETs that actually connect to the coil. And so I started looking around the charging IC and checking the diodes, MOSFETs, and all that stuff. And those MOSFETs here measure okay. Then if we go to the charger itself, you can see it here. BQ728H, actually the model number is slightly different. Uh, the model is BQ24728H. That's the full name, but that's the marking on the chip. And well, as you can see, there's a lot of flux residue in here. It's not something I did. I haven't soldered anything here, and this looks a bit old, I would say, and hard. So like here, this looks like wet, but maybe for you on the video, but this is like you know, like a hard candy. It's hard and like so. Obviously, something was soldered here. Looks like the chip itself was soldered. Not sure if it's the original chip or not. Maybe someone tried to resolder it, or maybe even put a new chip. I don't know. I don't know the history of this laptop. Obviously, it has some history and some, you know, something was done to it in the past. I don't know. But when I was, looking at it, so the charger looks soldered fine, like all the pins are have enough solder and making good connection. So either the chip is faulty, and I even bought one to replace it just in case, not to waste time in the meantime. But honestly, I wasn't that sure that it is the charger issue actually. If anything, I suspected maybe MOSFETs or something else. But as I said, I started examining the surrounding of the chip, measuring stuff, and what I found, look at this and tell me if you see anything weird about this one. So let me actually zoom in, full zoom I can do, and then get some focus and sharpness. Tell me if you can see anything weird about this one. So this resistor, the marking is 220, and according to the, I mean, you can check on the internet, it's basically 22 ohms. This is 10 to the power zero, so it's like 1, basically. Yeah, so it should be 22 ohms, but as you can see, it has a hole in it, and well, I can scratch it a little bit, but to be honest, it doesn't look like physical damage, like external damage. It looks like it's burned from inside, to be honest. I had a better look under the microscope. On the binoculars, it actually looks, the picture is even better, so I can tell that maybe if I switch off this, maybe it's clearer? No, it's not any better. Anyway, so obviously there is a hole in it, and I said it should be 22 ohms. You cannot see the multimeter, but I will measure it right now for you. Let's measure it, get the contact, and oh, okay, it's measuring something. And what? Do we have a good contact? Okay, it's measuring 370 ohms. Before, when I measured it off camera, it measured 0.92 of an ohm. So, but that was before I made another test with the battery, so maybe it got burned even more. So obviously, that's the first suspect, I would say. And definitely we need to replace this one and see if it helps, if the laptop works any better, if the charging is back. So I'll do that now and we'll see if it works fine now. Okay, so I'm happy to report that the laptop actually works, as you can see. At first I tried with the battery that I knew was working from the other laptop, and it worked fine. Then I used the original battery, and well, the laptop ran with the power supply connected, but when I booted into Windows, well, it was the battery was seems like it was charging, but it was stuck at 0%. I waited some time and it looked like it wasn't charging. And without the battery, it didn't. Without the charger, it didn't start at all. But well, after some time, I gave it some time. I switched it off, just left the battery in and connected the power supply. And after some time, the battery actually charged. And as you can see, it's now at 86%. Still charging, so that's great. I tested the laptop. Basically everything works, so the Wi-Fi works, and after connecting to the Wi-Fi network, all the drivers installed automatically, so that's nice. The sound works. I can show you. We have 4K video here already loaded. Let me play in 4K full screen. As you can see, it's working, the sound is there, the playback is really smooth, so no issues here. The camera, you can see my pretty face, it's actually working. Hello. And yeah, uh, everything works as expected, all the ports, everything works fine. And the most important probably, so as I said, it's now charging, but if I unplug the charger, it stays on, works perfectly fine. I will charge the battery to 100%, and I'm curious to see how long it will last on the battery. Probably I'll take the laptop home, do all the Windows updates and everything. Also give it a little bit clean, like clean the screen and the keyboard, the touchpad, and the palm rest, and the back cover. I think it has some glue from a sticker, so I'll clean it nicely and remove that. Also, I will replace the thermal paste. Not sure if it was replaced. Assuming that the laptop was worked on before, I would guess a repair shop probably changed the thermal paste as well, but maybe not. So I will do that for sure, just to make sure it's nice and fresh, working fine. And well, yeah, and the laptop actually, I even run Cinebench R20, and the score is around 2200 points. So it's slightly below the desktop i7 7700K CPU. So I think it's a decent result, especially considering that the CPU itself is what, 15 watts. So compared to the desktop CPU, that's really amazing, I would say. And it's not the latest CPU either, but overall the machine has 16 gigs of RAM, nice SSD, so still quite a nice multimedia laptop, so I highly recommend that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.